Oh, hi there guys. Hopefully if this works, I'm just going to give you a little bit of an update of where I'm at the moment, a bit of frustrations and things and achievements and where I'm planning to go. The reason for this is over the last, a few weeks now since I bought this new camera, a Canon, I think I mentioned on one of the other videos I've been having problems getting things to download to YouTube and they just seem to have continued. I've done a number of videos, both out and about, where I've had the dogs out, been up into the bush, a bit of a hunting trip. There's been some just general walking. I've done some knife making things, and the last few I've done, I've just been keeping quite short and trying to do something just to keep trying to find out why I'm having problems downloading. Followed all the stuff I can find on YouTube to find and Google, to sort of like sort out the problem. Anyway, a couple of nights ago, took me quite a while, but anyway, I replaced the modem, because I had quite an old modem. We had a new one sent quite a while ago I'd never put on, so I put the new modem on. I've checked everything I can find out about the the recording format and things like that, and the sizes of things. So I know I'm doing that right. And I know that if I go back to my GoPro, everything loads okay. So I'm not sure if it's something to do with the amount of information going through with this camera compared to the GoPro. So anyway, I'll give it a bit of a go. So this was this is the reason for this video and where I'm at. So hopefully things will get sorted from there. So I'll give you a quick rundown. I don't want to drag this out. Just let you know where I've got and a couple of things I'm intending doing. And what I have over here is I finally got around to putting myself a clamp which fastens onto the drill press so things stop bouncing up and down. Sorted my light out a little bit better, so I've got better lighting when I'm drilling. So that's over there. I've got a couple of granite blocks here. You can just see behind there. Yep, hopefully. I got a couple off my friend. I have one down here. He had a kitchen fitted, so I've got a couple of blocks off him. This one I'm using now, the last set of knives I've done, I'm using that as somewhere solid to fasten my knives to. With this one, as you can see, I've altered how I keep my base plate for sanding handle scales. A little bit of anti-slip mat, keeps it on there nice and tight, gives me a nice flat finish, so, hopefully do an even better job on that. On here I've bought myself a couple of proper spindles for fitting the buffing wheels. I still need to possibly remove the guards. I don't know whether I need to or not. This has really helped. I've been using this for just polishing things up and cleaned up a couple of edges on a couple of knives for friends and things like that. It's done a really good job. These have definitely made a difference. So if anybody's thinking about, converting them, this is just my smaller of the old grinders. And originally I just put the buffing wheels on. But it just made it really difficult to access them, so this really has helped. They're not bloody cheap, as any silly little parts never tend to be. But over here, I've finally fastened my vise down, so I stopped chasing it around the shop. It does get in the way a little bit sometimes, but overall, since I did this, about probably maybe a week and a half ago, I've done quite a few bits and pieces on it, and it does get in the way, but actually I'm quite pleased for doing that. On my grinder here, you can just see, hopefully, you can see the different pieces of ply I've got on here, and what I've done is I've actually fitted a base to my ply, base of ply to the grinder, and what that means is, if I can just show you, that does lift up now, and I need to get myself a chain or something strong, but what that means is from here I can actually put in what I've just got myself a small wheel arm and small wheel attachments. Currently waiting for the wheel arm to go with this. I bought the wheel and things for it. I bought something, like I've said before. I tend to try and get a bit of something every month, and sometimes it's not a bit, it's more of a bit, but just depends how funds go, as with everybody. Unfortunately, I've just received the arm for my wheel here, and they've sent me the wrong arm. They've sent me a surface grinding arm. So I've now got to wait for that again, and hopefully I was wanting to use that to replace using my old small linisher for cleaning things up. But between this, then the idea with this is that basically it goes up, and then I can put the tool arm in here and I can actually work sideways so you can see what you're actually doing with the when you're working into curves and things like that. Nothing new here other than a clean up. What I noticed a while ago, I've ended up doing all sorts of bits and pieces of jobs, and the shop was absolutely minging. And so what I've done is the first thing I did a few nights ago, I cleaned everything up. So I've been doing all these bits and pieces of jobs, and then in the end I thought, right, so I cleaned everything up, got everything sorted out. And then what I realised was the things that, my original plan were not going quite to plan. So what I actually set out to do is, a lot of these blade blanks here I'd made for my camp knife, hunting knife, the small bushcraft camp knife, neck knives and things like this. I'd got a lot of them cut out and heart grind, so I've actually cleaned all the edges on these. So what I've done is I've actually gone around and cleaned all the edges up on them. And then what I need to do now is go through everything, make sure all the holes are the correct size and clean the faces up and everything. What I've done is I've replaced some of the other blades, and I'm making myself a set of 2mm blanks, so I'm making a blank of the main knives I intend to make. These are a couple of knives I need to put together. I've had a request for a couple of my for the hunting knives from the show that my knives are in Auckland a minute, which I've actually got a couple of knives in a show in Auckland because I'm using native timbers, and I need to sort out my bushman's knife and make a template for that. And this will give me some good, accurate small templates, including all the drill holes and things, so that I'm not having to spend time measuring all the holes out and everything every single time I do that. And then the plan is, once I've actually got these pieces sorted and everything's cleaned up, is grinding the bevels. And that's my main goal. So my main thing, once I've got, like I say, once I've finished cleaning these up, got my template sorted and everything done, and I'm getting all those blades ready, and my weakest part at the minute is my bevels. So, you know, I'm sure you guys know, if you've got a weak point, work on your weak point and work on it until it becomes your strength. That's why I'm going to have, well, however many blades I end up with, and all of them, all I'm going to be doing then every time I come in here is getting those bevels, working on those bevels and getting them bang on, both the Scandi grind bevels and higher bevels. Probably, I mean, whether I'll do a full bevel or not, I'm not sure, but at least a 3/4, so I've got like a high, it's like a high sabre grind with a secondary bevel. So that's just to get that, and that's something I started doing quite a while ago, and one of the reasons I started making a lot of the blade, and I ended up with all the blade blanks I showed you back there, was to work on each skill a number of times until I improved. And again, you know, just getting the outside edges and the curves, you can see the difference we're doing one after another. So I'm hoping the same thing with the bevels, and I work on the bevels. So you work on, find your weakness, work on it until it becomes a strength, then whatever next turns up as your weakness, you work on it until it becomes your strength, and then hopefully by doing that, that's going to keep everything improving. So that's my current plan. I've also got a bit of I'm running some more hardness tests. What I did was what I'm calling my bushman's knife. I've been using that. Really pleased. Takes an absolutely brilliant edge and really holding it well. And I thought that was potential, and it maybe is, down to running a normalising cycle before I did the hardening and tempering. It wasn't until after I'd run a video and put the video on, tried to put the video on, which didn't work, that I remembered I'd actually done the normalising, but at the same time I'd altered the hardening temperature. And with a lot of the reading, things I've been doing, it's almost like the more and more you read, little things keep cropping up. And like one of the things with your hardening temperature is when you look at the statistics that people put out for hardening, there's a small range where you really hit a sweet spot. Before that, when you harden and then you quench, the blade might come out at sort of like 63, 64 Rockwell. Then you'll hit the sweet spot when it's going to come out at 65, 65 and a half, around those sort of marks. Then over that, it tends to drop back a little bit again. And I think, so it's either the fact that my heat treat is spot on, but the normalising just tightened things up a bit, or actually the reduction in the heating from, I was using on my kiln, I was setting at 820 and I dropped that to 810. So whether that's given me a slightly harder Rockwell when the blade was quenched, which then subsequently has given me a slightly higher Rockwell from tempering, I'll see. And so like I say, I've just cleaned some small pieces of steel up there. They're all going to be heated at different temperatures, obviously quenched, all the same. I'm going to do the same thing with normalising at the same, so I'm running the two tests together, and each of those I can now test the hardness, because I've got the Rockwell files, which I know I would love a Rockwell tester. That's not my sort of like scope of money at the moment. I'll keep my eyes out for a second-hand one or something, but they're not coming up very often over here. So, but I have got the files, so at least I can test the hardness, so I'll know whether I'm getting that bang on that 65 or over, and where the sweet spot is, or whether the difference has been the normalising. So I'll let you guys know where that comes out. And with that, I'm going to sign off, because this will hopefully be long enough to, at least it's showing you a few little things, a few little tweaks I've done in the shop over the last few weeks. Some of them, like I say, quite cheap. Every payday, when I've got a bit of money left, I come up to payday, if I've got a bit of money left from the fortnight before, I buy a bit of something, and that's how I keep building up. It's just plugging away at things and then looking at what your achievements are, the things you've put together and the things you've done. So the frustrations with like the amount of videos and the time I've spent trying to get videos on YouTube the last sort of like 2-3 weeks, well 3 weeks, But anyway, I hope that was reasonably interesting, and I'm babbled on here because I'm trying to get this out, and I've just had a coffee. I've just had a strong coffee. I really shouldn't have done that. I'm going to be buzzing for the next 2 hours or something. It's going to be bloody 10 o'clock tonight before I start to slow down. But hope that was reasonably interesting. A few little things there that I'm doing. I'll show you more, hopefully, if this works. So with that, I'm going to sign off, and thank you for giving me your time, guys. Please subscribe if you haven't done and you find this. There'll be a lot more if this works, and if I ever get my bloody videos to start uploading again, there's a lot more stuff in the pipelines to put on there. So with that, I'll sign off, and like I say, thanks for watching. Much appreciated, you guys, and get out there doing it. Awesome.